Rowena Dooley asking Sol citizens to report for duty.
I've been staring at the moon. Take me higher, waiting for your call.
This is Rowena Dooley asking Sol citizens to report for duty.
Hey, hey, good afternoon, and welcome to Soul Voices. I'm Griffin Gaming RPG, and we are back for another day of great conversation about Star Citizen. And yeah, there's a lot going on. I hope you guys have had a great week. Definitely glad to be back again. Let's see, what do I want to talk about? A lot of stuff. First of all, you guys know Daymar rally's going on today. Hopefully you've got it tuned in. As you guys know, that's a very long day for all of the participants and contestants that are in it, and I was tuned in for a little bit. Pretty amazed at watching the evolution of Daymar rally, how it is grown, and even more the evolution of Star Citizen. The fact that the game is just running like smooth as silk. I haven't seen, I was in and out, so if there's been any crashes or any problems with the systems, I probably have missed it, but from what I could see, it looked pretty good. So yeah, I'm like really impressed. And man, there's other vehicles out there. I see people, they're out there driving, was it Centurions now and stuff? You know, it's moved beyond just driving the buggies and the bikes, but now they've just incorporated so much other stuff. It's kind of cool to see the C2s out there. So kudos to the folks at Atmo Esports. They've been really deliberate. And I still remember in 2018, we were at the Austin Citizen Con, and they were one of the, there were only about maybe 5 orgs that had an opportunity to have a booth set up at that time. It was like the first year they set up official booths, and Atmo Esports was one of them. And they had a great presentation. They had banners. They had a whole folder with registration, all types of cool stuff in there. Just to kind of get people into this idea of an esport. And of course, I mean, nobody else was talking about it at that time. And wow, within that 5 years, it has evolved into an official Star Citizen community event, Star Citizen supported event, in fact. And man, it's been really great. They've had their hurdles, they've had their difficulties with technology and with players. But man, they've been just really kicking it out the park. So congratulations to them. Shout outs to people who are here today. I've got Fast Card, Zomax, Pops in Space, Shimpasta's here, Flying Wombat, Cataclysm is here. Let's see, Star Jump is here. Hey, good to see you. Yeah, so we got a good kickoff starter, folks, here. You guys are gonna get us going. And as you guys know, our Soul Voices show is our one-on-one where you get to come in and talk with me, or if I have someone else on with me. And I know Fast Card, the doc should be in. I should have put it in. If I didn't put it in, man, I'm sorry. I zoned out. The doc should have been in the channel, but let me put it in case I didn't, because I'm getting old. I tell you guys that every week, so you guys know Griff's getting to be an old man. There we go. And looks like I didn't put it in for this week. There it is. Okay. Thanks, Fast Cart, for reminding me. So as you guys know, this is a show where we talk about topics that come from Spectrum or Reddit. Cataclysm, thank you for that sub. Thank you. Let's see if I got Whammer set up for subbing answers in here. I think so. Yeah, there we go.
Hey, thanks for the subscription.
Thank you, Cataclysm. As you guys know, we talk about Spectrum, we talk about Reddit, and we talk about industry stuff. Today's going to be kind of a Spectrum-focused day with one of those topical questions I want to present to you. So get ready. We're going to put the links in for you so you can follow along with us. But let's go ahead and jump right into our very first topic. This one was like, wow. Looking at this was one of the most recent posts that was in there. And I know this subject has come up before in the past, but I want to go back to it again. And I think this person's asking a sincere question. You know, sometimes we get people they're a little upset, a little frustrated when they post some things in Spectrum. But this one was in the concerns category, and it was a pretty, I think it was a pretty fair question. They said, this is quality versus quantity by Branandorf. And they said, I've been playing for years now, going through the loops and enjoying all the content that slowly trickles in. My game crashes frequently and disconnects from the server in comedic times, but this application crash really hits me differently. It's the same crashes and bugs from 3 years ago, just with loads of new content around it. At what point does quantity over quality just not work anymore? Maybe it's just that I had a bad day and that's all there is to it. Okay. So I think he's presenting a pretty fair question. My question to you all is, there's always this, I've heard people say, fix the game, before you do anything else, get what's there fixed, right? But then there's also this other demand on the other side where people say, well, they're not producing enough content. There's not enough stuff out there in the game to do. There's not enough to keep us going. Where do you see the balance in that? Do you see a priority one over the other? If the game is less buggy, does it draw you in more to play the game, to be more involved in the testing aspect? Or if the game has more quantity, but the bugs are there, does new stuff coming out and things to do keep you drawn into the game? It's kind of a catch-22 to me, but before I give my 2 cents on it, I'm going to hear your 3 cents on it. So you guys know there's a link that's at the bottom there. You guys can click on that link to join us in the chat. Definitely want to hear your voices more than hearing mine. So we're going to start bringing folks in. Let's bring in first Pops in space because he was first man up today. Pops, you there?
Hey, yes I am.
Hey, how are you, man?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. What's your thoughts about this quality versus quantity, the balance, the striking the balance in it? How do you feel about it? What's your thoughts on it?
Well, my feelings is it is a game, but it's not a game. I don't know if that doesn't make sense, but in my mind, it's in there, and I'll do my best to explain it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on the computer and but it's really a testing environment. It's not a full-fledged game, and they are in the active process of building it. One of the things we talked about on Thursday, which Fast Card showed us and things, is the bugs that happened. Mm-hmm. And I'll try to say it as accurate as I can recall. He was saying about one of the ship's doors. I believe it was the Pisces. Mm-hmm. Now, we all know the Pisces door had been working for quite some time. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden it showed up and it didn't function properly. So that's not the ship itself. It's something impacting on that, which is in the system or somewhere else. So I think, we all need to be aware of this technology, like you've talked about in the other show. Chris Roberts was talking about the technology they're putting in the game is never done before. Mm-hmm. This is brand new. And these things are, it's, I'm not going to say it's new to well, I guess it is new to CIG because the whole thing's, but one thing impacts something else. and we have
Yeah,
to
but
give them
pops,
time
pops,
to go.
some of these crashes and bugs have been here for 3 years. I mean, it's the same bug. There's more stuff, but the same bug is there. Why are we still falling through elevators? Okay, I think that's what he's trying to say. You know, he's saying, you know, it's different if we get new bugs popping up. But he said these are some of the same bugs, the same crashes. So, and mind you, I think this person's trying to navigate this. I don't think they're throwing any shade. I think they're just saying, you know, we get this new content, but then we're still living with the same issues.
The same issues, the 30K.
I mean, is it just something that comes with the turf? Is it something you think CIG could fix? You know, I mean,
I think it comes with the turf.
Okay.
More than anything. I don't think they're not trying to fix certain things. There's priorities that have to be done first.
Okay.
Again, I have to fall back on it's a brand new engine they're working in. It's their own, and things are gonna happen. And I absolutely agree with it. It is frustrating because I've had to stop from time to time and take a hiatus from the game, because I'm like, oh man, all that mining I've done and then trying to deliver it, and this, you run into this wall and your ship explodes. I think we tried it like 3 times one day, and we just said, just went downstairs, made an angry sandwich, ate it.
Yeah. Okay.
And so, I absolutely understand where he's coming from. Absolutely.
Okay. Fair enough. Thanks, Pops.
All right.
All right. Pops is kicking us off today. Let me bring in Fist, and before I talk to him, Red, I see your question. Your question is, are they talking about the new PTU patch, or are they talking about a live patch? And I think you could kind of go with either one, because they're talking about bugs that have just been around forever, and some of those exist both in live and in PTU. So, the same crashes and stuff. So I think this is beyond just like the 30K, So just so you'll know, I think it could go either way is what I'm saying, okay? Fist, you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you
Hey,
hear me?
man, how are you?
All right, I'm good. I'm gonna kind of say, like, I look at it like this with the bugs. Yes, I get it. Frustration comes along with this. We're in a testing phase, and you're like, man, why don't they fix that elevator? Why don't they fix that bug that's been plaguing us since 2016 or whatever? But that, be honest, this is nothing new to any game. And there's games that are out there that are quote unquote finished that have bugs that come up and reoccur, throughout patches. So it's kind of a thing where you have to look at it or I've learned to look at it. It's a part of, unfortunately, it's a byproduct of development.
Okay.
It's going to happen. You're going to see things resurface. Do I know how to alleviate that problem? No, because I'm not a coder. You know what I mean? I mean, coding, obviously, as most of us probably will know, is a language within itself. So it to me, I try to look at this person's mentality for asking this question. And I know we've addressed these types of questions before, where it's like, okay, well, the game has all of these bugs and this, that, and the other, and it's messing up my gameplay. And I try to look at it from a point of fact to say to these people who have that mentality, I get it. You want the game to be great, so do I. But, sometimes you do have to kind of go back to that saying that you say, got to go play something else, take a break a little bit, but to the question's point, it's unfortunately that is just going to be there, how do you get around that?
Well, again, I don't think the person's, like I said, I don't think they're throwing shade, I agree. They're just saying, they're asking about this balance, quality versus quantity. And I guess my question to you is, which one do you prefer? Both? I mean, is there one that you would prefer over the other? Like, would you rather the game run smoother and at least it's running smooth and I'm willing to wait on the content? Or are you in the camp of, I want more content, I've been waiting on this game for a while and I can deal with the bugs?
Okay, for me, my opinion, I would rather see. Man, that's a tough question. It is a tough question. I have to agree that is a tough question because I'm kind of like I'm teeter-tottering on that fence, but I'm kind of leaning. I'm leaning towards. I'm gonna say quality because I know content can always be made. Quality is the most difficult part of it.
So quality will keep you in the game. Quality will keep you playing the game probably more and draw you more. And you're willing to wait on content.
Right, because content, I know they can do content.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I'm not so much worried on content. Now, content, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that content doesn't drive the game, because once you get your quality down pat, and stuff is running smooth, don't become stagnant.
Right.
I've seen that with a lot of games.
Right.
Do not become stagnant, because that's a killer.
Yeah.
So definitely content is a must. But quality is, I'm gonna have to say, it inches it out there a little bit.
Okay, and that's fair. I mean, again, I think to me it's a matter of mental fortitude for whichever direction you want to go, right? Because if you want the better playing game, you got to be mentally ready to say, okay, I'm willing to wait. And at the same time, if you want to be able to come in the other way and get quantity and get all the fun stuff and play more and have more variety, then you got to be willing to tolerate in the middle of that mission when the game crashes, right? I mean, like I said, I don't know if there's a right or wrong to it. You know what I mean?
And you're correct, and I agree with this person's question. I get it. It's a tough question to really address.
Yep.
But yeah. I guess we along for the ride. Folks, we along for the ride. So, hey.
That's a good way to look at it. All right, Fish. Yeah. Thank you, brother.
All right.
All right. Let's see. We've got Red Bear 1. Red, how are you, man?
Yeah. Good evening, guys.
Yeah, good to see you, man. Yeah. What you got? What do you think? What do you think? Quantity versus quantity. What do you think? Quality versus quantity.
Well, it kind of depends what kind of backer you are. If you're long term, you can know most of the bugs. You know how to evade them.
That's a good point. That's a good point. If depending on how long you've been in the game, could actually temper how you feel about this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We know them. We know them all.
Yeah.
And the ones we don't know, well, we will find a workaround for it. Within the day. Yeah. And then we can play the game anyways.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't think about it that way. You're right, because there are certain hurdles that we know how to get around where somebody who comes in brand new could be frustrated, right? That's a good point.
Exactly. So I think, of course, I can see where he's coming from. And he says, oh my God, this crash again. It's taking me off. Everybody has this, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, for me, if it's getting too much for me, then I'll just hop off the game and wait until I'm cool down, and then I'll go back in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do you do that because, let me ask you this, do you do that from for some people, they do it out of frustration, and some people do it out of because that's just the thing to do at that moment. When you usually decide to say, okay, I'm done, which one do you kind of fall more into the category of? Do you do it because you realize that, that this is probably not ready? Or do you do it because I lost $1 million in the ship?
The $1 million, well, I mean, who cares, right? At this point, it's first of all, it's alpha, and they wipe so now and then. So this money you have is temporary, so it doesn't matter at all.
Okay.
Now, but what I do actually, and I'll is I have 2 or 3 hours. I'll game, and then if it is almost the end of my game session, and the crash happens, then it's game over for me. They're like, okay, this was a good moment to stop, and then I'll pick it up later on.
Okay, that sounds
also
like me.
For keeping yourself a bit sane and not push on. You have some games that there's a very high difficulty, and if you bump your head a lot of times, then you have to tell yourself, maybe I should take a breather, go outside of something, and then go back in when your head is clear again.
Okay. So you're not one of the people that like smashes your keyboards and all the buttons fly everywhere, nothing like that, right? You just
It's an expensive hobby at that point if I do that. Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, Red. Thank you so much, man.
Okay.
Oh, that's good stuff. All right, we've got a good friend of ours, Star Jump Grim, joining us. Grim, how are you, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. You want to give us your 3 cents on my 2 cents question here? What you got?
Yeah, I think it's the Soul Citizen's always asking the good questions. So for me, it's quality versus quantity. It's hard to really quantify that because certain things I want more of, obviously, and certain things I want high quality. So it's kind of all over the place. But for me, the issue I guess I have with CIG's approach sometimes, and it may just be how we're seeing it, being community and not being, actually know what's going on inside the development studio, is that it's more about focus for me. So like, I almost wish at the beginning of every year, CIG would do like initiatives that they're focusing on, right? So where it could be focused on quality or quantity, but it was along certain initiatives. So like maybe they say, hey, our initiatives for this year are the new player experience and trading, cargo gameplay or salvage or whatever.
Yeah.
Where it feels like we kind of stumble along from patch to patch with like a grab bag of things and you never sort of know what you're going to get. You know what I mean? It's
right.
Like, okay, well, 315 may have been your medical patch, but then when you get to 316, we're automatically off of it. And they're not touching medical anymore. You know what I mean? So it sort of feels like things don't have focus sometimes.
Let me ask you a question while you're there.
Yeah.
Does that, and believe me, I would think it's cool to get that, right? Something that says, here's where we're emphasizing our work for 2023, right? They have their big session meeting in January where they go back and reassess what's our what are we working on? What are we doing, right? Let's say they say medical is going to be our focus this year. And in the process of development, there's a hitch. There's a blocker, right? Something happens that the Apollo doesn't come out, that all these things, as soon as we say medical to people, people's imaginations, they're going to freaking light up, right? Is CIG going to get themselves in a bad spot if they don't deliver enough of whatever that emphasis is? And I hear you, because I'd love it. I'd give them room for it, but will there be other folks who might not be able to mentally handle that?
I think the initiatives could live outside of the release, even the release cadence to some standpoint. Like I don't even know if the initiatives have to tie into being like, hey, this is what you're getting this year. I mean, it's the issue, I think, too, is like with the progress tracker, it just seems like they're working on so many things and it's so scattered. Everything from persistent stuff to Squadron 42 to, whatever, a million things under the sun, which is great. They're obviously very busy. But from the outside, it just seems like there's no focus. So it feels like we're living a little bit patch to patch, right? Now, obviously, with Pyro, that's changed a bit because they keep emphasizing this road to Pyro, the journey to Pyro, the, whatever. And they've sort of, I think in this last year, really started talking about things from an initiative standpoint. We're focusing on Pyro. We're getting Pyro out. That's a big thing to them. I think the only thing that's held all this up, and actually this does affect quantity and it heavily affects quality, is I truly do think it is PES that's held them up for this amount of time. Not even so much server meshing. It's the persistent aspect of it based off people I've talked to with, very in-depth game development experience. So I'm personally hoping that with PES being kind of put through its paces this year, that after 2023, and I know this is kind of what we all say, well, next year, but I am truly hoping that with PESN and 318 and us putting it through some hard paces this year, they can now start focusing on real meat and potatoes stuff. Again, just based off who I've talked to, it sounds like a lot of the reasons they would only take things to a tier 0 standpoint was because persistent wasn't in, and they couldn't really go much further than an initial, integration of a gameplay system. So So for me, I think I'm okay with things being at lower quality, or things being or having more of something or less of something, as long as they are always in service to a focus, and not just because, well, we had a developer free for a month, so they worked up, this one gadget or this one little fun thing you can do, and you'll never see that for another 3 years. A great example of this in upcoming 3.18, just to put it into some sort of tangible thing, would be this sort of temporary tier 0 crafting thing they're doing with the Vulture, which I think is awesome. I'm glad they're putting it in. I'm not one of those people that's like, why are they putting in the temp system? I would like to see them iterate on that. If they're going to put it in, I would like, that to be a focus, primarily to help sell the game, you know what I mean? So that we're not, so just doesn't feel so kind of like we're wandering the woods, and every now and then we land on a patch that's great. And then the next one, who knows? You know what I mean? I think if we had a year, for example, let's say we're post PES is in, and let's say they go, okay, we're focusing on salvage, which we know they are. They're doing the hull scraping or whatever. I would love to see the next patch, one more salvage feature come on, the next patch, another salvage feature come on, just for 3 or 4 patches. And I'm not saying they've never done that. I think they've done that a little bit with mining. I felt like for a while there, mining was getting something every patch. But I think when they can do that, it's a benefit to the game, and it's a benefit to serving like us players and selling the game for them, because us playing the game, we're selling the game to others. We tell our friends about it, and while it seems like a lot of people play Star Citizen, if you follow MMOs and know what a critical player base needs to be, especially to have a working economy, we need more players.
Absolutely.
Even now.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a little bit of a rambling answer, but that's how I look at quality versus quantity. They really just tie into focus.
You shared some good stuff there, and it's funny that you said depending on how they send this stuff out can also impact us psychologically, for lack of a better term. For example, I'm gonna use the example you used. The multi-tool, being able to be spawned within the Vulture, right?
Yeah.
It came across as like you said, here's a way so that if you get in there, you don't have a multi-tool, you can just, salvage this stuff and you can make one. I would have preferred them saying, here's the tier 0 toward crafting for up to the Pioneer. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's what I would have loved to have heard. And mind y'all, I'm not saying that's what it is. But what we did see was something that was being crafted internally inside of a ship. And to me, it would have been like so cool to hear that that's the first stage to that. Now people would have been like, oh, this is okay. There is going to be crafting in the game, because that's a question, even though they've talked about that, that's still questions that people ask all the time. Will we be able to make things in the game?
This goes back to one other quick point I'll make. And it ties into this whole quality versus quantity discussion, because I think the reason there's so sort of many different opinions in the community on the state that we get things in, right? Whether it's salvage or medical or PS or whatever the system is they're bringing in. There's always issues with the community. Some community wants it fully fleshed out. Some want them to, there's I think it's because CIG has not really talked to us about what their vision is on some of these subsystems in a long time. When I was doing research into repair gameplay for one of our shows, I had to go back to documents from 2015 to find any sort of true dissection by CIG. And there's so many new players now. The game has changed from 2015 and I'm sure internally as well. And I think CIG re-exploring articles that dive deep into what their current vision of some of those gameplay systems would help us judge quality versus quantity and our preference a little better.
Agreed. Okay.
Because we're really all working on a lot of outdated information.
Very true. Very true.
But that's it.
Okay. Well, thanks, Grim. Appreciate that.
Thanks, man.
Grim mentioned something that you guys have heard me say this a zillion times on this show. CIG, bring back Pillar Talk. Pillar Talk is the perfect avenue for what Grim was talking about, where those department heads, Sean Tracy and all those guys, come forward and talk about what they're working toward. Man, I miss Pillar Talk, and I wish just an annual thing, like right at the beginning of the year, like right now, after you guys come back off vacation and you've had that big staff meeting, open up and talk to the community and say, hey, this is where lore is going. This is where this, persistent universe is going. This is where Squadron. Oh, it would be so cool. But that's just my personal request to CIG. So, okay, let's go ahead and jump into our second topic. Those are great responses, guys. Thanks for coming in on that. This is from Spectrum number two for today. And this one I've got to read to you. No, I don't have to read this one. This is a short form. This is from Strigiform. It says, everything we pledged for, he's quoting somebody, everything we pledged for plus a lot more in 2015. That they were saying that we've gotten a lot. And his response is, add 7 years of funding record after record, and how much closer are we? When is enough? According to that statement, that was 7 years ago. So they're saying back in 2015, this person was saying all this stuff, but are we any closer? And then they end this with just say no. Now, let me preface this a little bit here so that you'll understand. I'm going to read a couple comments that other people made about this particular post, okay? This just say no thing, because this has come up before. This is going back to that old discussion about stop giving them money and they'll finish the game. That's kind of in a nutshell where this is going, right? If we stop giving them money, that will force them, if we hit them in the wallet, we hit them in the pocket, that will get them to see that the community is really not happy with where the state of the game is, and that they will finally move forward because they've gotten too comfortable. Okay, so here's a couple. If you guys want to click on that link, Fastcart dropped it in. I want you to see the very first two posts that follow this. The first one says, you can say no. You could even leave if you think it's not worth it. You can simply do other things while waiting to see if the project fails or not. No one's forcing you to wait or stay or put your money up. There, you have lots of options. That's one thing one person says. All right, but then there's another person who follows up behind that and says this: the more you keep convincing them that they can count on your money, the longer they'll make it last for everyone. We were basically done, according to CIG, in 2015. Still waiting for ships from 2013 because you taught them that they can keep selling. Okay, so you guys hear these two different positions, right? One position is saying, you know what, don't stress yourself out. There's other stuff you can do. Just keep an eye on the game as it progresses. If it does well, great. If not, you'll see that too, but you don't have to put any more money in. Somebody else says, hey, you know what? The reality is you all have made CIG get comfortable, convincing them that the money's going to keep coming in, and therefore they're going to keep stretching it out. They're going to make it last, because some people actually believe that CIG is consciously, kind of keep doing it, extending things out so that money will keep coming in. And that's I've heard quite a few people who believe that. That we're still waiting on ships from 2013. Certain ships we don't have yet, and still they still want money. Okay, so you guys can respond to this about this whole just say no thing. What do you think about the just say no? What do you think about voting with your wallet, right? I mean, right now, voting with your wallet is saying keep going. Other people saying vote with your wallet and say y'all need to stop. Y'all need to stop the ship sale stuff. It's too much. You haven't even delivered Squadron 42, let alone the Persistent Universe. Okay, so I'm gonna go bring in Red Bear 1 is already up for this one. Red, you back?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. What thoughts do you have on this one?
Yeah. Well, let's look at the first thing that he says about 2015. That he says we will get more than we asked for. That's partly already true. At first, we would only have like in what's that other game? Starfield, like a cinematic to go down to the planet and back and forth. That's what we have now. Is like seamless now. Okay. You can go seamless to the planets back and forth and do whatever you want.
Okay.
What we don't have is, of course, the 100 systems, right? I mean that. He's right about that one. So there's like a back and forth on what the promise has been. Of course, we know now there's a lot of blockers in the meantime, like PES and this server meshing. There's tech. And then at the second part, I want to say, just say no. Well, if you are not happy, then I would say like, yeah, say no. But I seriously doubt that it will go faster or slower than they do now. The only thing what will happen eventually is that they had to fire other people who work at CIG eventually, and it will go slower, even slower than we have now. I don't think it will go faster.
Okay. You don't think that will give them any incentive to put out more content or get things fixed any faster?
Maybe if there's a little dip or something, maybe for to keep some people happy, like give them extra, let's say, a new feature. So people like, oh, see, we have something here, and then maybe people throw money at the screen again for some new ships. I don't know.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Red. Those are good points. Yeah. All righty. Next up, we'll bring in Pops in Space. Pops, you there?
Yeah. Yes, I am.
Okay.
I'm gonna take this from the standpoint of business. Okay. Now I'm gonna go music on it just to give a parallel. Okay. A music producer charges a certain amount. He doesn't have any fame, doesn't have anything behind him. So he's doing his thing. When he makes a hit, how much does he charge after the hit? When he gets a hit record and the people start flocking in. Star Citizen is going to make way more money than they have now. Than they've made once the game comes out and it's a hit.
Okay.
How many backers are in? You probably know the number closer than I do.
3 million. 3 million.
3 million
signed up, folks. Three people signed up.
3 million people worldwide is a drop in the bucket.
True.
So all of that slow down, all of that don't give, that they're not going to do it because they're milking 3 million people when the game comes out and it's going to be a hit, and you're going after 50, 60, 70 million people. That makes no sense to me. Let
me help your point even more, and I'm probably wrong. Fastcart, correct me if I'm wrong. 3 million accounts, but there's probably half that in backers.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like 3 million accounts, but maybe half that, maybe 2 million, people who've actually put in money to the game. But your point is still well made. It's still a drop in the bucket in comparison to how much money could come in, right? Do you think that the say no thing though, I'm not against anybody who as an individual decides I don't want to put any more money into the game, right? But I'm looking at this whole campaigning, you know what I mean, of telling the backers to say no. Do you think it's wasted time? Do you think that it does affect people? Do you think there are some people who might, because they read a post like this, say, well, that's true. We have been waiting for this for a long time, or I didn't know the game's been going that long. Yeah, I'm not giving any more money. I mean, what do you think?
You bring an excellent point. The campaigning and that some people do to get a response out of other people in the community or people that are coming in and trying to find out what is this all, what is it all about. I don't think you really gain anything, by those types of campaigns, especially new people trying to come in the game and trying to find out what it is. I don't think you gain anything by that. As far as the money wise, spend as much money as you can afford to lose.
That's a good way to look at it, right?
And I'm gonna tell you this: Board Gamer is one of the people that he basically, I don't know, he doesn't really do it after every video, but he always tells people when the new ships comes out, you don't have to buy them. You don't have to buy. You can buy you an Aurora and go join an org and group up with a bunch, because this is it can be solo, but it's a group game. It's you're not going to take a javelin out solo. It just makes no sense. And that was kind of drummed up into me because that's the viewpoint I had of the game. I thought the game was a $3,000 pay to win shit. But when I found out that you have to have bodies, it's an org shit, light bulb went off my head off of that old MMO thinking, pay to win.
Yeah.
And it's not. You're paying to have a shit that you and your friends are going to get on and enjoy. And yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what else to say.
No, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right, Pops. Thank you much for your thoughts. Appreciate you, brother. All righty. Let's bring in, we got a new person here. Not new to me, but new to our show, which is Jay Voodoo Child. Jay, you there?
I am.
Hey, how are you, man?
Most excellent.
Good to see you again.
Always. Thanks for having me.
Sure. What are your thoughts?
I have 2 points here.
Okay.
First of all is that I believe that this is Chris Roberts' game. And we're just funding his dream to make his own game. And eventually it might be okay for some of us as well.
Yeah.
But the whole programming, the whole approach to how quickly things come out is entirely up to Chris Roberts. And, as long as he's satisfied, nothing's going to change. My second point is I have like a budget that I've kind of dedicated to do stuff in Star Citizen. And that is a drop in the bucket. And so while there's another gaming community that has kind of banded together over an issue and is actually making a financial impact by saying no, for me to say no in Star Citizen, I think is irrelevant. And there's so many new people coming in. There's still popularity with the product that it's still going to, my saying no is not going to make any difference to breaking this year's record or what have you.
Yeah. It's funny you would say that because, even on our show, I think last year I made a call that said, I think I said in 2022, I expected them not to surpass what they had done the year before. Because I felt like as we reached that 10th year, it might be a turning point, and that it was just me, and I said it was my opinion, right? I just said, it wasn't a prediction, but it was more of I'm really concerned about whether they can continue to bring in the type of revenue and break the records that they have. Lo and behold, what happened, right? Beyond any of us probably would have thought, not only did they pass 100 million, they exceeded $100 million in revenue. And as you said, there's both those people who have been watching from a distance, and then there's been brand new people who are just finding out about the game, who are now, and CIG, I think Chris said this in his letter, so much of the funding now is coming from not the old dogs that have been around forever, but these new people now who are actually bringing in all this revenue. So it is an interesting thing to watch this evolve, something I would have never expected personally, but that's just me. But I'm glad you have a budget, brother.
Yeah.
I should have did that a long time ago. I waited too late to set my budget. I have one now, but hopefully I won't take it any further. But Jay, those are great points.
Right.
Anything else you want to say?
No, sir.
Thank you. Good. All right. Thank you for stopping in, man. Good stuff. All right. Last but not least, let's bring in Fist to Face. I forgot to change the name there, Jay. I'm so sorry. I still had Pops' name up. Fist, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, I'm trying to be diligent now and put the name of the person up so that folks will know who the other voice is now, instead of just seeing my name up there.
You need some type of a widget or bot that'll just recognize.
Yeah, just recognize who comes in. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll work on that. There
you go.
Okay.
See, there goes your programming, coding. There you go. Whatever.
There you go.
I was trying to do something. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. What you got?
All right. So from listening to this question and listening to everybody else, I have to agree. My thing is when I look at everything like Pop said, and I look at it from that point of view that this game it has to grow. It needs. I mean, games like stuff like this need money. We all understand this is a big task. And this is the thing I get that, folks want to have a voice where, hey, is this question of a rallying cry to let me rally up my troops to see how many people I can bring onto the battlefield to watch something crash and burn? Is this or is this a question to say, hey, listen, of accountability? Of something, but I don't think this is a question of accountability because I haven't seen anything that CIG has done for me to the point where it's poor mismanagement of anything so far.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So again, it kind of goes back to this rallying cry thing where it's like, I want to, voice my opinion, which is fine. I get it, but I want to try to bring the troops and knock this door down, and then I look at it like this and say, okay, well, let's say you amass your army, and then you go in and you storm the doors of CCI, right? I don't think they call it CIG anymore, but Cloud Imperiums. Okay, you accomplish that. You get in there. You basically, as you wanted to do, burn it down. So okay, so then what?
Yeah. It goes back to what Red Bear was saying, is that not only do you impact the revenue, but now you've also brought about possible layoffs, slowing down the process, not completing the project, right? I mean,
right,
that is
and that's
the
the
side
thing.
of it.
Do you think?
Do you think that because people think when they hear those numbers, they think that that's the money that's sitting in the bank? Maybe is that what it is? You think that's what they think?
The thing. I tell you, boy, I would love to see these same people go and complain about Genshin Impact. Good Lord. I mean, that game, I was just, that game alone makes 500 million in 1 month.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, the money that we're talking about is minuscule, or especially over a 10-year period. Over a 10-year period, yeah.
Right, and that's a mobile game.
Yeah.
It is on PC as well.
Right.
And please.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. So I again, and that's why I try to, I try to challenge or challenge those who think like this and say, hey, okay, if you're going to have that same energy, have it the same energy across the board.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Feel that same way when you see another game that may have that same or doing that same practice that you may feel. Bring that rallying cry to that doorstep too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Good point, Fist. I can't argue that, especially the numbers when it comes down to the numbers. I know 100 million sounds like a lot of money.
No,
but you're absolutely right. There are some games who make that money in 1 year or 6 months or whatever.
Please.
It's not. Yeah.
Listen,
but
let me.
Okay.
Let me try to. I'll jump in here. I actually watched the interview. And it depends upon the game and how much they want to spend. Do you know how much the music budget could be?
Oh, it could be some ridiculous amount of money.
Right.
For continually pumping out full orchestration and everything, writing, composing.
Right.
You're paying all these union players and everything else. Yeah.
So y'all want a state? Listen, this is again, folks want a state of the art game, and this is what. And I'll go back to what Redbeard said. Redbeard said, "Listen, no, it was Jay. I'm sorry. It was Jay, right? Was it Jay Voodoo Child? Jay Voodoo Child just said, listen, we are pledging to play Chris Roberts' game. Now, if Chris Roberts' game is in the vision of the game that you want to play, then definitely. But that's what we're signing up for to play.
Okay. All right. And I'm glad you said that because I want to make a comment on something that somebody else put in chat. And I got to move on, Fist, but thank you, man. Okay. We can get the next one going. I want to go back something that to bring some clarity here. Nano Roboto said this. He said, I disagree, totally disagree. CR asked us, the nerdy community, for money to make a shared vision. We all have it. It's not his game. He wouldn't have raised as much money without the shared dream. And I'm going to agree with you, Roboto, and disagree with you. And I'll quote you. Chris Roberts said, I want to make the game that I've always wanted to play. There was no we in there. He said it. He was very clear in his pitch. I want to make the game I've always wanted to play, and I'm asking you to join with me. That is the shared part of it. I agree with you on that part of it. He asked us to step into his dream and his vision of the game that he always wanted to make and play. And he talked about the fact that Technology wasn't there. He always had this dream of a game, but it just wasn't there. But now he felt the technology was there to do it. And I don't think that Jay Voodoo Child is just dismissing our thoughts and opinions in joining into this. I think what he's saying is that Chris has such a high level and standard. We all know this. Chris has a high standard of what he wants this game to be, and it's not going to be driven by us. I think that's what we're saying. This is kind of like when when there's a public access station and they say, oh, if you enjoy what we're doing, we're $20 a month and we will send you this little CD. That's kind of like the relationship. It's like, do we enjoy what Chris is doing? Are we buying into it? Are we saying, yeah, dude, we're cheering for you. Let's do it. We're on the boat with you. Here's the freaking CD. You don't get to come produce the show. You don't get to come direct. You don't even get to go sit in the TV audience. That's kind of where we are, where, yeah, we're part of the shared vision. I think that there are glimpses, what Chris touched on for every gamer, particularly those of us in the space genre, is something that all of us identify with. And it's the thing that, we always say it, the game we've always wanted to be able to do, the world we've always wanted to be stepped in. But I think that much of the decision making ultimately is on Chris. And, don't get me wrong. Is there an accountability to the community and the audience that supports and brings the finances in? Absolutely. And I think he understands that. I don't think he's, some dictator to the point of like, well, screw those guys. It's going to be the way I make it, or, my way or the highway. I don't think it's that. I think he gives that consideration, but it is tremendous. None of us, let's call it for what it is. None of us ever pictured this thing that we're seeing right now. We may have had glimpses of it and ideas of being able to do this or do that, but none of us, other than Chris Roberts, had a vision of a game so comprehensive, so detailed, so entrenched, so immersed. I think that we've all kind of jumped on that train, right? We've jumped on it. I won't say the other train. I'll say the Roberts train, right? We all jumped on the Roberts train for the ride. So, but I do agree with you that we're a part of that vision. Absolutely. Okay, let's jump into the next one. We're knocking them out one by one. Boom. This is an interesting one. We've kind of side-topped about this on the other show, but let's talk about it on this one. Is the project of Star Citizen future-proof? Now, there's a lot here in this one. I'm only going to highlight a couple sections that I have on the screen, but I'm going to read to you the whole post, and you can follow along with me on this one. I think Fast Card will drop it in for you guys. If not, I'll drop it in. There he is. He's on it. This is from Oskarowski. I want to say Oskarowski. Okay. It says, I appreciate, the title is the project Star Citizen future-proof? I appreciate that you all love your jobs. At least I've gained this impression after several days of playing this amazing game and seeing all the great things around it. There is so much potential in this project that I spent even several hundreds of US dollars to support you. Of course, there are some annoying bugs, but it's an alpha, right? However, after all my time in the game, it's hard to believe that over all these years, you did not manage to handle the Error 3000 issue. This makes me think that you might not be up to date in your infrastructure. Kubernetes is not familiar to you. A nightmare, and CI/CD is a fiction. What brings me to the conclusion, the development of this project might already be in a dead-end road, as you obviously do not focus on important issues to ensure the future of the project. New features, new DLCs are of course important to make money. Finally, this would mean your jobs, in fact, are not safe at all. Am I wrong? Is he wrong? Do you think Star Citizen is future-proof? Now, I want to focus in on the things that I put up here on the screen. However, after all my time in the game, it's hard to believe that over all these years, you didn't manage to handle the Error 3000 issue. And then his conclusion, what brings him to the conclusion of the development, the project might already be dead-end road, as you obviously do not focus on important issues to ensure the future of the project. Okay. Boy, oh boy, we got a lot of folks that jumped in on this one. Let me bring in, I know Red was first, so Red, let me bring you in. All right, Red, welcome back.
Yeah, thank you.
All righty, I know there's a lot here on this one, but feel free to tackle it however you want. What you got?
Well, let's start with the future-proof. Well, if you have any job in the past, then you know what future-proof means. nobody can guarantee that. So that's that. Next, we're gonna handle the 30K era. I mean, it has been there for a while. They didn't they have this snapshot thing that they can, if you had a 30K, that you go back
the 30K, the heartbeat piece. Yeah. You know what, Brent, before you go any further, let's talk about the 30K era, because my problem with this is something else. Yeah. A lot of people don't know what the 30K is. The 30K is not any one particular bug crash.
It's a global
exactly. It includes a lot of things that could cause a 30K. And a lot of times people can say, why don't they fix the 30K? As if it's one problem. It's not. When we get to 30K, there's a bunch of different things that could have gone wrong. So we want to make sure that people understand that, because it's very easy for people to say, why does this 30K keep popping up? Why don't they fix that bug?
In the essence, as far as I have understand it, it lost its communication with the server. And nothing more.
Yeah, the dirty K. Get one robot on the dirty K.
And what causes this, nobody knows. And this is the problem with the community, most likely. They think like, it's a 30K, like you look up in the event log, like in Windows, and you see like, oh, 30K, it's this problem. We'll solve it now. But it's not like this. It's just like a big error, 30K, and it could be anything.
Yes. Okay. And what did you say about the other one?
The conclusion of the development. Dead end. Gloom and doom. That's how I think about it. Well, I if he thinks that, then that's that. Well, what can you tell those people?
He's saying the development of this project might already be a dead road if you obviously don't focus on important issues, right? And I mean, I guess he's presenting this to the, actually to the people who work there, to say you guys' jobs aren't safe, because you're not fixing this stuff, right? Because he says finally this would mean your jobs, in fact, are not safe at all.
Yeah, a part of the fix is, of course, that they want to have this server meshing in, and dynamic server meshing. So if one of those servers go down, another server will keep the connection up, and you won't miss a heartbeat. And so that way you will have no 30K error, because you have connection to the service.
Okay. So
I think it's not a.
So you think Star Citizen has a future? You think Star Citizen has a future?
Yes, that's the short answer. Thank you.
Okay. And I agree with you. It's hard to make something completely future-proof, right? Because nobody knows the future, right?
Yeah.
But
exactly.
But you feel pretty positive about the future. All right.
Yeah. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here in the first place.
Okay. Thanks, Red. All right. Let's bring Pops and Space back in. Pops, you there?
Yeah. Yes, I am.
Yes, sir. What you got?
Okay, well, I'm going to go to the end one first. Is this the dead end of the road? That statement, Red kind of, you don't know why that's even in there. But, I think some people have this idea that you're either, let's say that word, a white knight, or you're the negative end of it.
A salty knight. Knight.
Yeah. Okay. I wanted to stay away from the.
I said knight. I said salty knight.
Okay. So there is a group of people. There's other group of people. You don't have to be a white knight, or there's me. I don't know what we would call a learning knight, I guess.
Okay.
Or in being informed.
Well, you know what? We can go Star Wars, right? We can go White Knight, Dark Knight, and Gray Knights, right? We could go with the Gray Jedi, right? We got
there you go. Great. Because that's really what I do. Because before I came into the game, I was a unknowing knight.
Okay.
But then, we came in and I met good people and gathering good information. And I think that last statement is just that bad information that's out there that anybody with a mouth can just vomit out. As far as future, there's a lot of things in Star Citizen that you can say future proof. One of the things that we talked about is graphics, lighting, those things. I think they are absolutely on the right track as far as lighting and volumetric lighting and things like that. We haven't even gotten whatever form of ray tracing they're going to use. So I think that statement, because we went in the caves are gorgeous, the lighting is great. So that part, I don't really worry about them as far as CAG. As far as content, that's another major point of future proof, because it has to continue to give and inspire and give, because this game is an adventure. Okay, it's one big thing. How far can they go with mining? Yeah, that's going to have in my opinion, that's going to have an end point as far as how we do it, but what we get and other things is going to be more important to mining. We may go into volcanic things, and we may need a new ship. So that type of content, I think, from what they've shown me, is where they're going to go. There are different places to explore and do things and discover. The Banu Merchantman is a big turning point for them when that ship comes out, because it's going to open up a gameplay that we have not experienced yet, parts and things that we are going to probably see that they're like, whoa, wow, they were thinking about that. So I think that's going to be a big positive. Pyro is going to be a different slice of the universe than what we're used to, where Stanton is basically pretty rich comparative to what we know right now. Pyro is poor. Pyro needs it's going to need. So we're going to be concentrating more on delivering from one system to another system when Pyro comes in, which we're not used to. So we're going to see new gameplay.
Okay. So you think there's future? You basically think there is a future to the game?
From their track record, yes.
Okay. Yeah. All right, cool. All right, Pops. Thank you much, brother. Appreciate
you. Thank you for letting me run my mouth.
That's okay. Thanks, man. All right. Last but not least, let's bring in Fist to Face. By the way, if you guys want to come in and talk with us, there's a link. Please feel free to chat. Click on it. Come in. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the subjects that we're talking about today from Spectrum. All right. And we got Fist to Face back with us. Fist, you there?
Hey, how are you? Okay. Check it out. Let me start off by this. This is the disclaimer, and I am joking. So here we go. Whoever agrees with this and whoever wrote this, y'all are a bunch of doomsdayers, man. Okay. Oh my God. So the conclusion is the development of this project might already be in a dead-end road, as you obviously do not focus on an important issue to ensure the future of this project. Oh my goodness. Okay, so 130K is now. Why don't you just go lock yourself in a bunker and wait for the zombie apocalypse to come? I'm just okay. All right, got it away. So anyway, I said that to be sarcastic and to be joking, but again, I'm trying to address the mentality here.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Because I'm saying in a sense, okay, all right. Why are you saying, and the question is, why are you saying this, right? Okay, we have an issue, okay, you're saying that the game is going to end because it sounds like as if, what he's saying, your poor management of not handling this issue, right? Okay. How many other games do you see out there that have bugs that have been in there since the beginning? Yeah. That are, again, finished, quote unquote, finished games? Right. Is it the end for them? And that's what I'm trying to say, to get at. You know, it's like, come on. Okay. I mean, it's a little bit kind of like beating that dead horse over again. Like, you know, what are you accomplishing here? you know, by saying this, you know, because again, do you have a solution? And at the same time, too, are you there within the development to understand what's going on behind the scenes?
Now, let me ask you a question, Fitz. The show tomorrow we're doing is called The Naysayers, right? And there's we got like 13 reasons why people say no, say negative things about Star Citizen. Do you think that maybe, and I'm going back to something that they said in this post, this makes me think you may not be up to date with your infrastructure. Okay. Do you think that in some ways, knowing the history of the development of this game kind of gives you clarity, right? Like if you know that this started with CryEngine and it went from CryEngine to Star Engine, or it's the Lumberyard. I mean, if you know all that history, you kind of understand that there's been an evolution from no engine to, the initial engine to where we are now. And because when this person says, well, your stuff's not up to date or whatever, right? Like, not to be funny, but I'm not throwing this game under the bus. I'm just saying this is a reality of something that happened with Elite Dangerous. One of the frustrations with Elite, even though it was released, was that their engine, they could not modify it after a certain point. They pretty much maxed it out. Do you think that maybe people not knowing that this is an evolving process makes them feel that this game isn't the same thing with graphics, right? Will they be able to keep the graphics up to date? Do you think that maybe they don't, if they haven't had that history, that maybe that's why they don't think that the game is kind of future-proofing itself a little bit?
I can understand that, anxiety from that point. I can understand that anxiety.
Okay.
Only thing is, like Red was saying, again, who knows what technology will come up, 10 years, 20 years from now. Obviously, we want to play this game for that longevity. Who knows what'll be? I can't really say whether or not, they will have, if CIG, or excuse me, if Cloud Imperium has for their software that type of upgrade path, because as their constraint is to hardware, and then hardware is constrained is to what I mean. Then you have software and all of that other stuff from how the way it's running on Windows, and who knows from now somebody could come out with a better operating system from Windows. Yeah, you know what I mean. We don't know,
right?
You know what I'm saying. So, I mean, to say that Star Citizen isn't future proof, I mean, I don't know exactly, but I'm quite sure that it is on their mind.
Okay.
I'm quite sure that that's definitely a forefront thing for them to want to have longevity in this game to look at and to be able to do so. Now, whether or not if their software engine can sustain past a certain amount of time, I don't know. But one thing I've learned that I've kind of seen with Unreal Engine 5 or so, 4, there is a way to be able to port things over into 5. Now it is a bit of a workaround. I'm not saying this is in essence a lot of assets you would have to port over into it, but I'm quite sure they probably will think of a tool to be able to do so.
Okay.
Possibly. You don't know.
Okay. But you think that the game is not a dead end. It's not on a dead end road.
In a bunker somewhere. Get yourself a bunch of bologna sandwiches and have at it. You know what I mean? Just figure it out.
Oh God. Okay.
There you go.
All right. I'm going to drop a link in the post for you guys too, because this is a really good post. And Fist, thank you, man. Appreciate you. I'm going to drop this link in for you guys. The title of this is actually in response to the servers being stable, the 30K. This was a post that was put out in 2020. But take a look at that one there. I just dropped in. It says Restream. This was from Clive Johnson from CIG. And it was in response to the question about 30Ks and the servers. That's the link there. Take a look at it. It's pretty lengthy, but it talks about why they aren't fixing server crashes and why there are 30Ks, 30,000 errors that pop up. So you guys, it's really good stuff to take a look at when you get time. Okay. All right, we're going to get off of all of the Dark Knight side of the stuff. Pardon the expression, DK. I know you're in the chat today. We're going to get off the Dark Knight stuff. By the way, who was that? Shelvin, I saw the Knights that say nay. You wanted a shrubbery. I appreciated that joke. I want to go to this last point for the day. And you guys, this is a different spin now. And this is like, sometimes I present questions to the community. As I mentioned earlier, Daymar Rally's going on today. A lot of excitement, a lot of fun there. But I want to ask you, beyond Daymar, as you guys know, Daymar has become like an officially supported event, even from CIG. And they've worked really hard over the last 5 years to build Daymar Rally up. What other community efforts would you suggest that CIG consider to add to the verse? And I'm talking about stuff that CIG sees the community does and then gets behind it, right? Whether it be access, information, like they do with the servers for the Daymar Rally. What are some things that you would like to see CIG get in behind? I'm going to give you one that we've talked about, and we've got a show coming up in a couple weeks or a couple months that's going to be called The Big Broadcast. And that one we're doing about what it's going to mean to be able to bring media content into the game that's created by community members. So, a lot of times we have machinima, things of that nature. We've seen on ISC recently that Jared has been showing the different commercials that people have made as commercial breaks. That's like something that they're officially getting behind and promoting. Is there anything, whether it's happening now or something that you've been thinking about, that you think that would be great, that would come from the community, that CIG would get behind and support? Obviously, this racing thing has become a big thing. Now we've got racing tracks, 6 racing tracks in the game, because the community has really been pushing that. So let me bring back Red. Don't forget, you guys can click on the link and come in and share your thoughts on this topic as well. Red, welcome back.
Thank you.
All right. Any suggestions? Any ideas?
Yeah, actually, I used to think about this thing, what we can do more in game and on the planets, for example.
Okay.
The first thing that came to mind, we have all those modules in Star Citizen. We could actually do like a laser tech laser, those laser games on the ground. Like you go to Microtech, and then you have like all those hologram. Yeah, you can go into those seats, and then you're going as an hologram into a fight with other players like this.
Okay.
And for example, you can do it somewhere else. If we have this pull and what's the other one? Push.
Push pull tech.
Into the game, we can have like a surrounding that's weightless, and we can have there a kind of sports there.
Yeah. Fastcart mentioned this last week about Sata Ball. Back in the day, that was one of the demonstration things. They just put it together to show us, what they were working on. But to be able to see some type of technology like that, I think even like that Ready Player One thing, right, where there could be this community thing that's done and an arena, right, something like that. That would be kind of cool. Okay.
Yeah, so something like that. So people have also reason to go there, and people can watch it from a monitor or something.
Okay.
Yeah, what's going on
Nice.
from the outside.
That would be cool. Yeah, to be able to watch it throughout the verse. I would really dig that.
Yeah.
That would really be cool. Okay. All right,
Yeah.
Pops. I mean, I'm saying Pops. Red Beard.
Pops,
Looking at Pops' name. Thanks, Red. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
All right. Let's bring in Pops in space next. Pops, you there?
Yes, I am.
What you got? What's some suggestions, some idea of something that you think would be kind of cool to bring into the universe?
Well, one of the things that, is music into the verse.
Okay.
There are a lot of people out there that do music. A big part of the community does. And I think it would be an excellent thing, which we have reached out to, what did they don't call it? They call themselves CI, what is it? Cloud Imperium.
You say
now.
CIG. We get
CIG.
it.
Okay. So, and they said to us that, they will look into it. They're just not ready.
Not there yet, right? But you're talking
not
about
there yet.
Are you talking about something like, okay, like when you say incorporate music, like a lot of us are familiar with GTA, right? You're driving around in your vehicle, you've got the different stations, you can listen to the different songs. Are you talking about something on the ships? Are you talking about in the clubs? I mean, where would you like to see that music being incorporated? Because mind you, they still have their own, music composition team, right? So where would community music, where do you think that would be utilized at?
Well, okay. One of the things I'm going to point to that we just saw, if we saw the Jack series, the Moby Glass, on his Moby Glass, it was a community hub where you could donate to him. Now I asked, which is Brian, I believe it's Brian, that's the VIP of marketing.
Okay.
And I asked Brian, and Brian said, everything that we see in the videos we will get, which means the way that Moby Glass was operating. And it is where you're in one place and you're broadcasting to a group of people and they can donate to you probably in game and things of that nature. So if you're doing music and you're traveling somewhere and people need, things to do in that travel time, if you're going from one system to another system, so you could actually tune into a radio station.
Okay.
We also have a jukebox that's in game that I believe it's for your hangar.
Right.
So that would be another avenue. Radio stations.
Okay.
It would be a tremendous undertaking, like my son mentioned earlier, a music budget for a game, to supplement that music budget with people that would give royalty-free music, where they make sure it's checked and from the community, that would fill that up. And that would be inspiring to the community. If you're doing an adventure somewhere, you're exploring, and you've got your music maybe playing in the background that's legitimized by CIG to play, that would inspire people to donate, and not money, real world money, but
in-game credits or whatever. Yeah,
and things like that. You probably could have some kind of concert, maybe.
Wow, concerts. That would be great. That's great. I love that.
DJing, Dark Night.
Well, you already went down one of the paths I was going to say, and that was that I would love for them to make places like Wally's, because if you ever look up at Wally's at the booth, there's a DJ up there. I would love for it to be where an actual community backer is actually up there. Not, but I'm saying they actually, that's them up there, and you're hearing their music, because I'm sick of that music in Wally's at this point, by the way. But I would love to say that, Dark Knight DK75 is spinning tonight, at Wally's, and we go there and DK, and you hear his voice come across the thing, and he could use the invoice thing. Everybody in Wally's would hear him, and then he would be spinning the music that's coming out of Wally's that night. I think that would be just so amazing, something like that.
I think so too.
Very cool.
Dark Knight one night, Fast Card another night.
Whoever they book it, whoever books it,
whoever, right? And you could actually do a voting process, a booking process, and a way to make in-game.
Well, here's the deal. How about this? Let's go to a different route. Let's talk about what a mechanic that's already in the game. Reputation. So now, if you dig what DK is performing, you give him a star, that boosts his reputation in what he's doing in game. And then he could take that reputation for some other aspect. Maybe there's someplace else. If his reputation gets high enough, maybe he's starting out in a little dingy bar in the beginning, right? He's mixing music in Oasis. But if he wants to be the big DJ at Wally's up in the platform, his reputation has got to move to a certain level.
Sorry to interrupt. This Fast Card, real quick. You have feedback coming through your mic.
Oh, God, thank you.
Oh,
all right.
How's that? Better?
I think so.
See, that is my moderator being on it for me. Thank you, Fast Cart. Yes, I mean, there's a lot of ways that they could build that into gameplay, as well as provide an avenue for content creators to donate something into the game. I love that, Pops. Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
And the radio, I mean, because content, once the game comes out, content creators have to move to something else. And it would be a liable advertisement.
There are multiple locations in the game, multiple places where music could be done by people in the game, whether it's pre-recorded or live, right?
Exactly.
If there's an API that allows you to get in and do it live, or if, like you said, it's a submission thing where like jukeboxes and stuff, you don't got to be live on that. Those could be definitely pre-recorded, and I think it'd be great.
Right? Yeah, you could continue on doing Soul Talk in game.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, don't take all the ideas, Pops. I got to leave some room for Jay Voodoo, because now you talk about streaming people's streams. That would be cool too, but I ain't gonna go there. All right, thanks, Pops. Let me get Jay Voodoo in. All right, let's bring in Jay Voodoo Child. He's back. Jay, you there?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Awesome. What you got?
The big thing, but you guys got that covered.
Huh?
The idea that I'm bringing to the table is newsreel type of information. So we've got a special ship out there that is supposed to, go out and take video and updates and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And so to have some sort of in-game feed of whatever is being produced by that person and whatever ship. Communication is still a gray area on how they're going to handle it, system to system. And so getting that information out, whether it's put on a beacon someplace that anyone's running by can download whatever the latest uploads are to that beacon and then watch it as they're going to bed or whatever, for that screen or what have you.
Yeah.
Just different things like that needs to be kind of worked out in how to incorporate community content into the game using the systems that they're intending to have set up.
I was thinking on what you were saying, when we have Invictus, right? They activate those monitors to let us know where the fleet is, right, in the game. They'll tell you whether it's at Microtech or whether it's at Hurston or whatever. And I've always thought about, some of the ships even. 600I, right? It's got that little area with the 2 chairs. There's a monitor there. To be able to tune in to things that are system-based, and then also maybe, I don't know, maybe if there's something going on, like you said, a battle or something in another system, being able to plug in. I don't know how they would do that, because I'm trying to keep it within some realm of reality. But if there was something being broadcasted from the Mako, or, we've got people like Zark Media, who does like the newscast, like you said, right? An actual channels that I could tune into in the game in real time. I would think that would be like super, super awesome to see happen in the game. How do you feel? Do you think that should be like vetted material, like the machinimas and stuff? Do you think that would be something, Jay, that, you have to submit to CIG, and then based upon approval, they would schedule it and put it up? Is that, how do you think those type of materials, pre-recorded materials, how do you think they would handle that?
Well, I think the lack of communication system to system would allow for a measure like that, that we could, record something, in the moment, and then submit that to CIG, and then with their approvals, we could then upload that to, like I said, a beacon in another system as we're traveling through.
Yeah.
And then someone can download that. And
Nice.
So it's an in-game asset that's already been monitored, improved, and, for content and all that good stuff.
Yeah. And it's built into the gameplay, which I really love. That's a really cool idea. Okay. All right, Jay. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
All righty. All good suggestions. Great ideas for things that could be done. More quantity, y'all. Y'all putting more quantity in the game instead of quality. No, I'm just kidding. No, I think that those are all very, very cool ideas for things that we could suggest to CIG, right? We're just making suggestions here. Let's see. I'm trying to read what somebody wrote here. Oh, Almost Over says, I can hear it now. There's a traffic jam at Hurston with a queue of 50 ships waiting to park. All you miners be aware that pirates have been spotted in the R-Corp system. That would be very cool. The Choban, that Vandal attack on Port Orvid from the few years ago back. Yeah, they didn't show us that. Monitors on the other stations around Hurston could be showing it as well, warning players that something was on. Yeah, that's right. That video was actually very cool, right? The guy standing by the window, and then we see the red alert pop up on the screens. That was very, very cool. I would love to see real-time stuff like that starting to pop up. Let's see. Mitachi, I spent 12 hours making a 4-minute SC video yesterday. I'm willing to do my part. Yes, I would love to see, being able to see content creators, love to see music, events, all that type of stuff, like the Daymar rally. Don't get me wrong. It's cool that I can turn on Twitch and watch it, but imagine me sitting in my 600i with a friend and we're watching it on the monitor there in the game. Or for those of you who have ships that have those monitors in them, even a caterpillar in the dining hall. There are monitors there to be able to tune in and watch something that's going on real time in the game. I think that would be completely awesome. So yeah, a lot of great ideas, gang. A lot of good stuff there. Okay, we have hit it. We have knocked out everything that we were going to talk about for today. Let's talk about what's coming up on tomorrow. Our show tomorrow, Sunday, 8 p.m. is the Naysayers. Now, I want to get this together. I don't want people saying I'm picking on folks. I'm not picking on folks. What we're going to be talking about are 13 reasons why, and I'm not saying that there aren't more, but 13 reasons for why people say that Star Citizen can't happen, won't happen, may not happen, couldn't happen, whatever the case may be. Why there's some people who feel negatively toward the development of Star Citizen. And I think you'll be intrigued by some of the topics that we picked. But there's going to be 13 of those, at least 13, unless I think of a couple more overnight, but those are the ones I came up with. Of course, we would love to hear what you guys have to say in chat. Maybe there's some things that we didn't think of why people, say Star Citizen isn't going to happen, or it's whatever, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, that's going to be tomorrow evening at 8 p.m. Eastern time, and that'll be myself. That will be Fast Cart. I think Fast Cart's on with me. And also Geo Get Money. Geo Get Money will be with us tomorrow. Sub-Vigio, but those of you who've been around for a long time know him as Geo Get Money. He'll be here as well. These are going to be the old heads, because we kind of know the history of all this stuff. And I hope you like the graphic artwork. It took me a lot to figure that one out and come up with something. So hopefully those of you who've been around for any length of time will recognize and remember the name on that card, that black card. Let's see, what else are we going to talk about today? Also, today is PodSat Saturday. This is the day where we partner with both the Astropub and Relay, that we basically support each other. And when you leave from this show, we want to encourage you to turn into the Astropub, Paul Shelley show, which is also panel talk show, great information, great guests, lots of folks there sharing good information. I don't think Paul is on right now as I look. So yeah, Paul's not on right now. So we are going to probably set up a raid. You know what? I'm going to end up I'm going to have us raid someone who I know we haven't raided. I don't think we've raided him before, but we're going to set up the raid with HC Vertigo. Fast card, stop laughing. We're going to raid HC Vertigo. And when you guys get over to HC, let him know that you came over from the Soul Citizens. I think he's still on. Make sure before I've done this before where I've sent you guys to somebody and they've already ended their thing for the day. He's there. All right, so when you get there, give a shout out to HC Vertigo. So HC is a very cool person. He was with us with the summit last week. Hopefully you guys once again will be able to join us on tomorrow. Don't forget, with PodSat Saturday, Astropub at 6 p.m. Eastern time, followed by Relay at 9 p.m. Check them out. Have a whole Saturday afternoon of nothing but good Star Citizen stuff. Until next time, hopefully we'll see you guys tomorrow for Naysayers. As we always tell you guys, peace, love, soul, and we appreciate you guys. Thank you to those who followed, those who subbed today. We really appreciate you guys as well, as always, for supporting us. Did my raid go through? It did not go through. I don't know why. Give me 1 second here, gang. We're going to not go there because for some reason or other, it wouldn't let me raid. So let's go with, I think I just saw Kimmy65 is on. Let me see if I can go with him instead. There we go. All right, Kimmy's went through. All right, give a shout out to Kimmy when you guys get there. As always, take care of yourself, stay safe. Peace, love, and soul. We'll see you guys later. Take care.
Donkey do, you're gonna be